then, welcome to the World News on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Nwachukwu, and these are the top stories. APC chieftain reveals Tinubu may not be re-elected in 2027. Yekini Nabena wants Tinubu from taking sides in Rivers crisis. Asari Dokubo fumes claims Tinubu's government terrible. Pro-Wike lawmakers react to Rivers Assembly demolition. PDP launches legal proceedings against 25 Rivers lawmakers, reveals resolutions. And Ayedatiwa returns to Ondo as acting governor. Details now. Well, the world news begins with the former Director General of the Progressive Governors Forum, Dr. Salihu, disclosing that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is at risk of losing re-election in 2027. Addressing journalists in Abuja today, Lukman hinted of an impending rebellion among the ranks of the party in no distant time from now. Lukman, who resigned his position as APC's National Vice Chairman Northwest, argued that the APC-led administration is not living up to the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians. He expressed, and quote, "I think we must be honest, and this is the point I say to our leaders without any inhibition. At the moment, our democracy is not responsive enough, and as a party of vision to be progressive, it is certainly not yet progressive," he claimed. Also, I am worried that our leaders have become very comfortable to imagine that they can do anything and get away with it. We must appeal to our leaders that things are almost getting out of hand at the rate at which we are going under a party that is envisioned to be progressive. We are likely going to start witnessing rebellion, and if care is not taken in 2027, we will be kicked out of office, which means taking Nigeria back to where it was in 2015. I think we owe our leader the responsibility, or President Asiwaju the responsibility, to tell him the honest truth. End quote. While in Rivers, a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Yekini Nabena, has warned President Bola Ahmed Tinubu against taking sides in political crisis currently ravaging Rivers and Ondo states. The former Deputy National Publicity Secretary issued the warning via a statement today. According to Nabena, the President and the ruling APC must respect the Constitution regarding political developments in the two states. He cautioned that the President, as a father of the nation, may not always play politics. Nabena said, in quote, "President Bola Tinubu must not play politics with the two states. He must show that he is a democrat and not a dictator. President Tinubu, who believes in the political or social equality of all people and practice the principle of equity of rights, must not play politics with Rivers and Ondo states. The constitution of our nation must be recognized and respected at this time in Rivers and Ondo states. The All Progressives Congress should also look into the party constitution carefully, bearing in mind that the National Working Committee of our party does not have powers to dissolve an elected chairman and its executives in Rivers. We are democrats and not dictators in the APC, so we should be mindful of our actions. The implication of this action in Rivers State might be dangerous for our party in the near future if the right thing is not done quickly now. If not, what happened before in 2019 will happen again with litigations here and there." End quote. Meanwhile, former militant leader Asari Dokubo has criticized President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, describing his government as a worst for the Ijeoma community and a nightmare for them. Dokubo made this known in a video shared on his social media page in response to the ongoing political crisis in Rivers State and the alleged marginalization of the Ijeoma people under the current administration. The former militant leader recalled several sentiments raised during the election period, saying there was fear among the Ijeoma populace regarding Tinubu's administration not being concerned about their welfare. He, however, assured them of taking responsibility for Tinubu's failure. Issuing a warning, Dokubo said any unrest in the South-South region would begin from Rivers State, expressing his inability to intervene or restrain the sentiments brewing among the Ijeoma community. He said, in quote, "You don't want to hear the naked truth. Okay, don't hear it. Ijeoma people are already angry, and this is the worst government. This government is against the Ijeoma people, and you want to add petrol to fire. This is the worst government. Ijeoma people feel this is the worst government for them. This is a nightmare for them," Asari Dokubo exclaims. Meanwhile, a group of members of the Rivers State House of Assembly led by Martin Amawule has condemned the demolition of the assembly complex by the state government. You would recall that the political crisis in Rivers State took another turn earlier today as the state government demolished the House of Assembly complex for a purported renovation. Speaking on the matter in a chat via monitored program on television, the spokesperson for the group, George Alabo, expressed shock over the demolition and described the exercise as a rape of the history of the state's legislative arm. Alabo said the lawmakers would not be disturbed by the antics of Governor Siminalayi Fubara. He said that all the documents and archives of the assembly since inception were destroyed in the demolition, erasing the history of the state's legislature. He expressed no notice, no warning. People on ground were kicked away. There was no opportunity to save anything. The history of the House of Assembly from inception has just been brought down. That is what we are talking about now. The National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party has issued 4 resolutions following the defection of 25 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly from the party to the All Progressives Congress today, December 13. First, the party demanded fresh elections in 25 state constituencies. The party, in a statement issued by its National Publicity Secretary, Depo Olunigagba, also informed the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) of the vacancies created by the defectors, cited Section 109, subsection 1G of the 1999 Constitution, which states that the member of the House of Assembly shall vacate his seat in the House if he becomes a member of another political party before the expiration of the period for which he was elected. The PDP further demanded that INEC conduct fresh elections within the constitutionally stipulated time, arguing that the defectors have appropriated the votes and mandate of the people they were elected to represent. The party also announced that it has instructed its national legal advisor to initiate legal action to ensure the declaration of the defected lawmakers' seat vacant and pave the way for fresh elections. According to the statement, the PDP will take every necessary and available step in the democratic dispensation to ensure that the votes and mandate of the people of the 25 state constituencies in Rivers State are protected and not appropriated under any circumstance whatsoever. The defection of the 25 lawmakers, largely loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, preceded the recent demolition of the House of Assembly complex by Siminalayi Fubara-led government. Wike, who is a former Rivers State, or rather, who was a former Rivers State governor, and Fubara are allegedly fighting over the control of the state's political structure. The acting governor of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, returned to the state today, 2 days after meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja. The acting governor, who landed at Akure Airport in a commercial airline, was received by Chieftain of the All Progressives Congress and Director of Corporate Affairs, Niger Delta Development Commission, Ifedayo Abegundi. He arrived in the state shortly after the House of Assembly confirmed the receipt of a letter from Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu transmitting power to him. In the letter, Akeredolu also announced he will be embarking on a medical leave. Recall that the absence of the governor had resulted in heightened political tension in the state, with calls that power should be transmitted to Aiyedatiwa in line with constitutional provisions. To talk about this and more issues or prominent issues in the world news at 6 today, I have via the telephone Barrister Eze Eluche. Barrister Eze Eluche is a political and social affairs commentator, also a legal practitioner and a political enthusiast. Barrister Eze Eluche, good evening and welcome to VOP World News at 6.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you,
virtually.
First of all, let's talk of what's his name, River State Governor Fubara. That's one. Secondly, let's look at Asari Dokubo as well. Asari Dokubo is fuming and he is saying that a revolution is what is to be necessitated now, specifically speaking from the angle of the Ijaw people. He is saying that this is the worst government ever. I don't know if you can recall about 2 or 3 months ago, just immediately President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office, this was the first proponent who supported his government, who raised the flag for his government, who raised some supposed non-state actors who, according to him, were going to defend him. Asari Dokubo and his team of boys were in front of the Supreme Court when they were going to give the final ruling on October 26th. Also, the final day that the tribunal was also going to give its final ruling, Asari Dokubo was outside the court premises as well with his boys and traditional attire, several drums and all whatnot, hailing and praising the president. Please, Barrister Eze Eluche, can you kindly explain to me what happened between then and now?
Well, what happened is that Mr. Asari Dokubo does not learn from history or has not even tried to understand the role he was used for. He was used as a rag to cleanse some dirt And now that that debt has been cleansed, there is no use for him. So he's been thrown into the garbage bin. So that is what thugs are used for. So when Asari Dokubo was busy scouting around the Supreme Court premises where judgments were being delivered, he was merely being used by the current president and his party to incite some ethnic hatred and friction that will enable that sufficient crisis environment to enable Mr. Bola Tinubu get into office. Now that Mr. Tinubu is in office, what use do they have of a thug? They have absolutely no use of Mr. Asari Dokubo. And all the noise he's making about Ijaw ethnic, it's all nonsense. I mean, there's nothing that relates Ijaw people with the mercenary approach Mr. Asari Dokubo takes to issues. When he was busy abusing everybody, abusing the Igbos, did he remember the Ijaw ethnic nationality? When he was busy collecting contracts to protect pipelines, when Ijaw lands was being devastated by petroleum crude oil operations, did he remember the Ijaw nation? So he should not mention the Ijaw nation. The Ijaw nation is a peaceful nation, and they'll continue to abide by the laws of Nigeria. Asari Dokubo is only benefiting or reaping the fruits of his labor. So he should shut up and stop disturbing Nigerians. It's time to move on.
Barrister it is quite interesting your phrase concerning Asari Dokubo. A lot of Nigerians may actually attest to a couple of things concerning the statement he made. He's asking that a revolution should occur. I recall when Omoyele Sowore also went on that particular revolution mantra, he was immediately arrested, detained by the DSS. He was taken to court. He was there for a very long time. Do we expect that to happen for Asari Dokubo?
Well, I mean, he did quite a lot of things. He incited hate. He claimed he was shooting Igbos, water. He claimed several things. He claimed he was working in Imo State and I think Anambra State, yes, where several people were killed by these so-called security outfit, which was alien to the Igbos. So it was clear that his neck is deep in blood. So if the DSS or whoever picks him up, that is his business. This man was a mercenary. He has been used and he has been dumped, and I don't think it should be a cause for discourse. He should go and lick his wounds, and I hope others will learn, because this is a routine and it has become a norm. Every government finds a lackey to use and dump. So, Mr. Asari Dokubo, you've been used and dumped. So, I mean, Nigeria moves on. The issues he's raising about this government being terrible, being ethnocentric, being nepotistic, of course Nigerians know it, but we don't need an Asari Dokubo to raise those issues. Nigerians know it. Asari Dokubo thought he will be giving some money or giving some whatever. He said he will fight and defend the Tinubu with his life. So what nonsense is he telling Nigerians? The reality is that he is getting the due reward for being a miscreant, and he's been discarded, and that is all. There are far greater issues and better things to worry about than a noisemaker who thinks that because he was allowed to brandish guns around because the government wanted to use him, he's free to do that. Let him go and brandish those guns again now and see what happens to him. That is the reality. He was used and dumped. Simple.
All right. Okay, so let's move on to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There seems to be a disquiet within the All Progressives Congress. In fact, a particular former Director General of the Progressives Governors Forum, Dr. Salihu, disclosed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is at risk of losing re-election in 2027. You would recall that recently one of the APC chieftains, or rather the APC chair, proposed and boasted that come 2027, that the APC will definitely take over the leadership again in continuity. They're going to continue this administration. Also recently, Hope Uzodinma and a couple of other governors said they have strategized to take over the southeastern states, assuring that the strategy in place is to take over the southeastern states, bring them into the APC fold, and they're sure of winning in 2027. Well, this particular APC chieftain is not the only person who is given a heated argument that what the APC promised during the campaign season before the elections is not what is being experienced now. And that if this continues and Nigerians are grumbling, that he is of the opinion that President Tinubu will not be chosen to fly the flag in 2027. Do you see that happening? Because you do know that President Tinubu is a political or strategic political king. So do you see that happening?
Well, the reality is this: the APC chieftain who said Mr. Tinubu is not keeping to his promises does not know what he's talking about. Mr. Tinubu is keeping strictly to the promises he made. The only promise I heard him make actually was that he will build on the legacies of Muhammadu Buhari, a legacy of suffering, pauperization, and underdevelopment. So that is what he's building strictly on. Told Nigerians he will do, but the issue is: was he ever elected, or did he get into office by judicial pronouncement? But as for keeping to the promises he made, the main promise Mr. Tinubu made was a Milocon, that he is the next. And the next one was that he will build on the legacies of Muhammadu Buhari. Now you ask yourself, what are the legacies of Muhammadu Buhari, except to pauperize Nigerians, to deepen our suffering, and to deepen underdevelopment, and to enforce insecurity across the country? In all these four areas, insecurity, pauperization, underdevelopment, and Mr. Tinubu has excelled. He has excelled. So this is what he said he would do, and this is what he's doing. He did not mince things. On the very first day of his inauguration, he announced that he was removing fuel subsidy. And that's threw Nigerians into the level of poverty we are now witnessing. The next move we made was to float the Naira, which made the value of the Naira to crash stupendously in a manner it has never crashed since independence of this country. So, and the other thing he's been doing is amassing billions for spurious projects. And these are things that are geared towards deepening poverty, popularizing Nigerians, and ensuring underdevelopment. So what does that APC chieftain mean by Mr. Tinubu is not keeping to his promises? The issue is, are Nigerians going to accept and tolerate all this? That is the question. And not whether Mr. Tinubu is keeping to his promises. He is doing what he said he will do. So it is left to Nigerians. We've seen it. We've seen what's going on. Are we going to allow this rot to continue? And that is the question that is left for each and everyone to answer.
All right. He also made reference to the fact that the leaders, the APC leaders, all of them who were able to get one political position or the other, seem to be very comfortable and that they can do anything and get away with it. So he's appealing to the leaders that things are getting out of hand. Can you help contextualize what this means? He's saying that they are doing whatever it is they like, and they seem to get away with it because they know they can get away with it. Do you think he's referring to all the debacle that surrounded the president, before the Supreme Court affirmed him as a president, and a couple of other shenanigans that have been taking place with the recent administration?
Yes, the issue is, are they doing? Yes, if you can do whatever you feel like doing and get away with it, then that kind of insanity will build up and creep in, and before you know it, you become like a god who can do no wrong. That is the quagmire the APC government has found itself in. When it came into office by means which are unknown to our constitution, by pronouncements from the apex court that show that even the judiciary has been captured. If you capture the judiciary, you capture the legislature, you capture the military, you begin to feel that you are infallible. So that is the quagmire this government has gotten itself in. It does not even feel like it needs to seek advice. It does not feel like it needs to look or listen to the people. It can decide to one day wake up and build a house for the vice president for 15 billion naira, when most Nigerians are thinking of to get home from work. It can decide one day to start to begin to develop mansions for Mr. President in various parts of the country, when most Nigerians are withdrawing their children from school because they don't have the money to pay for their school fees. So this is a government that feels it has captured Nigeria, that Nigerians can not do anything and it can get away with whatever it wants to do, and it's doing it. In fact, it's proving to Nigerians that there is no constitution, that we are not a constitutional democracy. That you wake up, what you see when you wake up, you deal with it. Now, like I keep on asking, the question is this: will Nigerians tolerate this? For how long will Nigerians tolerate this unconstitutional government? For how long will we tolerate these sufferings? The question is left for Nigerians, and not with these characters. Because what they will do, what the APC will do, what Mr. Tinubu will do, is that they will keep on pushing Nigerians to the wall. And as long as Nigerians who have been pushed to the wall are not reacting, what do you expect? You'll be pushed deeper into the wall. So the pushing has just started. We all got to brace our loins and expect more pushes.
Barrister Eza Luce, apparently opposition parties or opposition supporters are saying that those who supported President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should not complain. This is what they bargained for. This is what they asked for, and so whatever it is they're experiencing now, they shouldn't complain or talk about it. Others are saying that the political dispensation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is stifling, and that those who supported him did not see it turning out this way. Others feel that the previous administration that was on board did a lot of harm and is taking a toll on the president to correct the malay that he came and took over. But the question is, we are beginning to see the political political upheaval in Ondo and Rivers State. The president intervened in Ondo State, but also in Rivers. It's almost like there is no law and order there. Earlier today, the National Assembly or the State Assembly was demolished. Apparently, there was no notification. All the records within the state assembly complex burnt down, destroyed. About 5 lawmakers were in the house today, and Similai Fubara presented the budget for Rivers State. After doing that, he told Nyesom Wike happy birthday to him, and then of course the speaker loyal to Similai Fubara has been affirmed by the court to be the speaker there, as well as those who have defected. One person has returned. The question is, do you think the president should intervene in Rivers politics, or do you think he's aiding and abetting what is currently going on there?
Well, what is going on in Rivers State is most unfortunate and tells a lot about how wicked and our politicians are across most divides. For the state government to have gone and demolished the State House of Assembly, recently renovated and built at cost of several billions, was the height of wickedness and shows that they have no courtesy to the people, because the House of Assembly is the people's house. The people of Rivers State should have gone to defend their house if they had meant. The governor, why can't the governor go and destroy Mr. Wike's properties or the properties of his opponents? Why must you come and destroy the public property that belongs to the people of Rivers State? It was a dastardly act and most unfortunate. And that shows how things have collapsed in this country. You go and destroy the House of Assembly because you have issues with members of the House of Assembly, and then you now have the temerity. I'm talking of the governor of Fubara has the temerity to now invite the State House of Assembly to the government house to present the budget. The next thing we will hear is that this same governor will invite the judiciary to come into government house so that the entire government will be in the government house. What kind of madness are we descending to in this country? But then the problem is, how do you solve it? How do you address it? Because there is a total collapse, a systemic collapse. It has been established that the Constitution of Nigeria is no longer functioning. That's why everybody who has any power is doing what they feel like doing. But what happened in Rivers State this morning is the saddest thing that has happened. Because can you imagine it happening at the national level for Mr. Tinubu to go and destroy their National Assembly complex? Nigerians should begin to ask themselves, what kind of government do we have here? And the issue is not for Mr. Tinubu to get involved or to be involved in it. No. If we had a constitutional process, if we had a constitutional democracy by its true name, there will be remedies for this because they're all built in. You don't go and destroy public property no matter who you are. Somebody went there to do that. That person should be arrested and held accountable, whoever you are. But then all manners of excuses are being churned out because there's no constitutional process. What we have in Nigeria now is not a democratic government or a constitutional democracy. We simply have civil rule.
So does this define
individuals who are civilians come out and do whatever they want to do?
Does this define what the APC chieftain said by saying that people seem to be doing what they like and getting away with it? The leaders seem to be doing what they like and getting away with it, with what you just described?
Of course, certainly. If the president can go in and become president despite the provisions of Section 1371D of the Constitution, which says that if you have paid fines for fraud, for offenses bordering on fraud and dishonesty, you cannot be president. Or if he becomes president without getting to 5% of the votes in Abuja and the Supreme Court affirm it, that means in this country you can do whatever you want to do and get away with it. So that is what Mr. Fubala has just done in Rivers State. He has destroyed the House of Assembly, and nothing will happen. So we are becoming like, in fact, we are a collapsed, failed state, a banana republic, where anything goes, anything happens, and there will be no consequences. And I just hope that there will be consequences for this. The police or whoever must find out who destroyed that National House of Assembly in Rivers State and deal appropriately with that person. Otherwise, there will be more destructions in other parts of the country. And this is not in reference to what led to this destruction. Because even the destruction itself was totally unnecessary. If 25 members of the State House of Assembly have jumped ship from the parties in which they were elected, which is the PDP to the APC, a simple pronouncement by the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly that those men, by virtue of what they've done, by virtue of Section 109(1)(g), they have lost their seats. With that pronouncement, you don't need to burn or break down the House of Assembly. All you need to do is to ensure that those former non-members who are now non-members do not have access to the building. Why must you go and destroy buildings for which billions were spent? This country is becoming so pathetic.
Thank you so much, Barrister Eze, which I sincerely do appreciate your input. We've actually run out of time. However, thank you so much for your perspective on these issues. Now, to wrap up the world news at 6 here again at the top stories, APC chieftain reveals Tinubu may not be re-elected in 2027. Yekini Nabena wants Tinubu from taking sides in Rivers crisis. Asari Dokubo Fumes claims Tinubu's government terrible. Pro-Wike lawmakers react to Rivers Assembly demolition. PDP launches legal proceedings against 25 Rivers lawmakers, reveals resolutions. And Aida Tiwa returns to Ondo as acting governor. That's a wrap on the world news at 6. My name is Esther Nwachukwu. To join us for the political spotlight, or rather for VOP Politics at 7 on at VOP TV Live. Good evening and thank you for staying with us.